Serious, what was something you saw you were definitely not supposed to see? Found out a relative who everyone believes to be filthy rich and always throws extravagant parties. Put his kids in expensive private schools. His wife shopping and eating fine dining. His broken closets declaring bankruptcy. He's in deep debt and that he hasn't paid his bills in months, and from what I could see, he owes a loan shark too. Now, every time I see him post an invite to my mom, I cringe at the thought of him owing more money. My mom knows, but I never told her, she just knows. My mom gave me an old laptop of hers when I was about 13 and I was scrolling through random pics she had left on it of my little brother's football games, and then boom, nudes of my mother. Years ago, a colleague had an old smartphone that he brought in to give to another coworker. Theirs broke. The phone was sitting on the new owner's desk, but she hadn't yet tried it out, as it was still charging after months of not being used. We were talking about how cool it was with the coworker. Smartphones were not widespread yet, and I picked it up to see how it felt in my hand. I pressed a button and the first thing that I saw was a Google search for lump on anus. I quickly put the phone back down. This must have been the last thing he searched for when he last used it a long time ago, and forgot about it. When I was 11, I walked into my mom's bedroom and saw my mom and her husband doing a 69. We never spoke about it. Years later, when I was 24, she walked into my bedroom and saw my BF naked with a boner. We never spoke about that either. I found a suitcase full of dildos under my mom's bed when I was 8. Back when I was a teenager, we hosted a New Zealander at our house for a couple weeks. Guy gets to our place after the flight, and about 10 minutes later I'm walking around my house to see where he's at. The door to his room is partially open, and the dude is laying face down on the bed and humping the ever-loving fuck out of a pillow. I backed away slowly like Homer when he saw Apu cheating on his wife. I felt bad for the pillow. Edit, for all of you asking, no, it was not a wool pillow and it didn't resemble a sheep. David Copperfield Show. I was at an angle that allowed me to see the volunteers running out from the stage during a disappearing act. My dad's AA chips. Learned it's why my parents got divorced. Proud of him for being in recovery though. I found a letter between my parents back when my dad was in the army. 10 years before I was born. When cleaning out the house, he was saying how they should get a divorce because it just wasn't seeming to work out. 16 years after I was born, they did end up getting a divorce. I've never talked to them about it. I was in elementary school playing basketball. I shot the ball, but it ended up going over the fence on the other side was someone's backyard. My teacher requested that after school I knock on the door of the house where the ball had landed to get it back, and so I did. I did not expect a woman wrapped in a towel with one of her nipples revealed to answer the door. I was shocked but carried on with my mission. For those wondering, she stated she did not have the ball. As a kid, I saw the scene from Poltergeist where the clown pulls the kid under the bed. My entire bedroom was filled with clown pictures and toys. I was upset. Leaving work late one evening, I saw the HR director and CFO in a dark office shredding papers. No, that's not an euphemism. I didn't say anything but quietly walked on down the hall. 2 weeks later, we were raided by the SEC and several people were charged with cooking the books. Back in 1997, I started work at a new job and took over the office of a salesman who had recently been fired. I was in IT, using the same computer that had been set up for sales. My first task was to install all the software I'd need. The computer hard drive was almost full, so I poked around and found a ton of folders filled with porn. Went to my supervisor, and he said to delete it, warning me that the salesman had been fired for downloading porn. Over the next few weeks, I kept finding secret porn folders on the company's network. Not only had he downloaded enough porn to max out his computer's HD He had the network at about 90% capacity. When I was done deleting all the folders I could find, the server capacity was less than 50%. Dude was seriously addicted to porn. When I was about 16, I was snooping in my parents' wardrobe. Found a diary written by my mother when she was 14 from the year 1970. Read some beautiful and brilliantly written entries about meeting and dating my dad, who was 16 at the time. Had to read a little between the lines in some slightly later entries as they were written with such flowery language. In one such entry, all of a sudden she discloses that she's had an abortion performed by my grandfather, an anesthesiologist. She never told anyone. Serious, what was something you saw you were definitely not supposed to see?